Hi everyone, it's Nicole Spohr and welcome back to my channel. Today I have 10 cards with the Spellbinders September 2020 card kit of the month called Whimsical Forest. Each month I love to take the card kit of the month and create at least 10 cards with the card kit. You get 10 card bases and 10 envelopes. There is much more than just 10 cards worth of product in each kit. It's a fantastic value. I am just kind of going to take you through and show you what all you get in the kit. There's some dimensional stickers. I showed that there's some foam adhesive and a roll of double-sided tape plus the exclusive dies. A great little stamp set. There's some dies from the kit this month actually coordinate with that, and I will be sharing that a little later in the video. The 6x6 paper pad, this might be one of my favorite paper pads in a while. Beautiful patterns. I've used quite a few of them on my cards today, but I really love the different patterns you get in the paper pad. Cardstock, of course, and I want to say always, but I'm just going to say I think they always add a foil cardstock in the kit, which I seem to always use. I love it. And then there's actually two different sets of die cuts this month, and I always like to open them up for you, kind of walk you through and show you those. They tend to be the basis of most of my cards. This is the video where I show you probably what I would consider more quick and easy designs. I really like to try to find ways to dress them up, even though they are quick and easy, because I personally tend to be a little bit more of a detailed type of card maker, detailed and start from scratch card maker. But I love pre-mades. I have always loved pre-mades, even back in my scrapbooking days. And I love to kind of show you what all you get because you get so much. This is a great opportunity to talk kind of about my system as well. I know I've mentioned this in previous videos, so if this is not your first time here, you've probably heard this, but if it is, I like to mention this because I think it's helpful. I like to open up the package and I immediately pull out the things that I'm crazy about. I knew I loved the mushrooms. I knew I loved the trees. I knew I loved the gnomes. So I kind of grouped things together like how I thought I would use them. I tend to like to do groupings of things. For example, we're going to have a card that has a set of trees. Those obviously are all pulled from those tree dies that I picked out when I opened up the package. We're going to have a background that is all leaves. I'm creating an all over leaf background for kind of a fall themed thank you card. I've grouped all those together, which makes it very easy when I get to want to create that card to just go through that set and pick out the ones I want to use. I like to put things like banners together, other sentiments that I think I might like, anything that I might build a scene with. I immediately grabbed any critters, hedgehogs, letters, even some of the things I ended up not using, I still grouped together because I like to kind of just see what I have. And then of course I can revisit this later on and create additional cards. And look at all the dies you get. It is so amazing. Now the first set of dies I opened, I believe there was only one of each. That's anything there along the top. Mostly I think it doesn't have white outlines around the dies. The second package I opened up has the white outline around them for the most part, not everything. And I believe everything in that package, there's two of each. It's a great value. I cannot believe how many of these pre-mades you're getting this month. It's so amazing. Really fun. And I love everything in the kit. There's always going to be those few things maybe that you don't love. And some kits I gravitate towards more than others. I'm sure you guys do too. This is one that really speaks to me. I love the colors. I love the theme. Just everything about it's so cute. And I'm just showing you here some of the frames. They pop out, so you're actually getting more than one in that die cut. I want to quickly show you the 10 cards we're going to make today. I loved the die cut frame, so this is the exclusive die in the kit. Here's that all over leaf background I was talking about. Super easy, but really eye-catching. Of course, I love this. I think it'd be great for a teacher. And all the little gnomes and snails and things, that's actually a very, very quick and easy card. As I have the last few months, I did pull in quite a bit of like the Nestabilities essential rectangles or the essential Glimmer rectangles or ovals to do a little extra glimmering. There's also some glimmered greetings from the More Sentiments Glimmer set, but I tried to keep it mostly to the kit and maybe to some basics that you have at home. If you have some rectangle basics or some full plate basics, you can create the same thing, or you can create some stamped sentiment strips and not foiled. There are definitely options there. I am going to take one of the pattern papers from the kit to create our first little critter and mushroom scene card. Absolutely adored these ginormous mushrooms. They make the perfect little place to seat our critter. We're going to have some thought bubbles up above, use a little home sweet home die cut sign, and then we're going to glimmer a sentiment. Very easy. So our background was die cut with a Nestabilities essential or a Nestabilities rectangle die. That's going to be about 4 by 5¼ inches. If you don't have a die, you can definitely use your paper trimmer. You do not have to have a die. I love the clean edges and I love how it die cuts perfect, but you definitely don't need it. And then we're going to take a Glimmer essential oval and we're going to glimmer a little oval right on the pattern paper. I have been loving this the last probably 2-3 months. I didn't know if I'd like glimmering on pattern paper, and as long as the pattern is fairly subtle, I think it kind of helps draw your eye into the scene. So this is one of my tips for dressing up pre-mates. Whether you're using dies to do that, or glimmer plates, or even stamped frames, whatever it might be, I just really love that idea of adding a little something to a pre-made card. Now, in addition to the glimmered oval, we're going to glimmer a sentiment. I sometimes find with the card kits that not all the sentiments necessarily work for the kinds of cards I send. And it's a very easy fix because most of us as card makers have lots of stamp sets or glimmer plates if you like to foil, or dies, whatever it might be. So it's easy to grab those from our stash and use them with our kit. And I'm a big proponent in whatever kind of card making you're making or creating to shop your stash and use what you have and mix and match. It doesn't all have to be from Spellbinders. Yes, we're focusing on Spellbinders today, but it doesn't have to be Spellbinders. And that is what I love here. Okay, we have our glimmered phrase. We're using thanks for all you do. We've got some cute mushrooms. We've got our glimmered oval background, and we've got our critters. Next is my all-time favorite tip when dealing with pre-made die cuts, and of course, that's foam adhesive. A little bit of dimension is so easy, and it adds so much to a design. It lifts things up. And that goes for whether you're using pre-mades like we are today or you're creating your own. I probably should take out stock in foam adhesive because I use it all the time and I have a ton of it. I try to never run out. I think I just placed another order here about a week ago because for some certain kinds that I like a lot and use all the time. Anytime I see that I'm running low, I get more because it is just such a staple in my stash. And you can see here, it makes a huge difference. Not having your die cuts lay flat on the background and they're lifted up and instantly adds interest, it adds dimension. Kind of ignore my little foam here, or my gold foil hello. That hello is from the kit. I really thought it die cut a little bit better than it did, and it does die cut good. Hear me out. But I thought it was a standalone. There's a hello stamp in the kit. It die cuts that. It doesn't really work as a standalone, which is okay and kind of a bummer both because I really like the size, but I am going to use the die with the stamp here in a little bit, so you'll get to see that use. So I completely just ditched that idea for this card. We're only going to use the Glimmer strip, and I really don't think I probably need anything else for this card. There's quite a bit going on, and we're adding those thought bubbles up high, remember? So there's a lot of text. Those thought bubbles are going to be a little heart, which I love. We're going to use the other one after a bit. That's one of them that there's two of. And I think I actually used the other one twice, both of those as well. It says, "That was pretty sweet." Then, of course, we've got our cute little guy sitting on the mushrooms, the little home sweet home sign. I used both of those as well because I think it's cute. And then our "Thanks for all you do" sentiment. I love this. He's holding a little letter. How cute is that? I just think he's darling. Very, very fun. And a lot of the steps for this card are going to be repeated throughout. I will be cutting some of that out of the video because these videos, it's 10 cards. It is going to be a long video. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. I know some of you love that, some of you don't. You know, hopefully I try to do a mix on my channel. This, because there's 10 cards and I know you like to see the steps, if you follow this series, it does tend to be a little bit longer in length. Here is my next background, another design you'll see quite a bit throughout, and that is the Nestabilities rectangles, and I used both the large size, which die cuts the 4 by 5 1/4, plus the dotted background, which die cuts those little holes out of the background. This is a little gnome scene, very simple. I love this wood grain paper, fantastic little background. We're going to adhere that over another die cut piece. This is some of the pink cardstock from the kit. It peeks through those holes. So maybe glimmering is not your thing, but you love the detail of the little holes. So the last card, that was glimmered. This one is die cut. They have both, and they have both in multiple shapes. So there's going to be ovals, circles, and squares. I love them. I love all of them. They are my most often used die, whether I'm doing Spellbinders or not. I think they're phenomenal. They're great basics. And instantly, yes, the wood grain is awesome on its own. And I will show you not doing any die cutting here in a little bit with this pattern paper. But look at what great interest just adding that little border around the edge adds. Then we've got die cuts popped up with foam adhesive. We've got a sentiment banner popped up with foam adhesive. We've got a layered dimensional sticker. That gnome, he's actually a sticker that comes with the little pinwheel. He's so cute. Look how great they work together. I love that. And then in the stamp set, there is a sentiment that says there's gnome one like you, that we're stamping on some of the navy cardstock in the kit with clear embossing ink, heat embossing with white embossing powder. We're going to trim it into a quick strip and pop that up with foam adhesive. And then there's quite a bit of white space up above our scene and then a little bit down below our sentiments. And my favorite thing to do here is to add some little red hearts. So I've just got some little Trinity stamps, red heart accents that we will add to the card to kind of finish it all off. But other than that, this is super quick and easy as well. But grouping things together makes a really big impact on a card design. And you're going to see both. You're going to see where I use a few things, and you're going to see some like this where I use a lot. This next one has repeating patterns. I was really inspired, especially with teachers and everything going on this year, and they need our gratitude now more than ever. I thought this would be a really fun teacher thank you card. And we're going to die cut with the rectangle the pattern paper, and it's so great. I love this. It looks like, you know, writing tablet paper with cursive on it. I love it. And I also glimmered a rectangle on the background to kind of help frame it up. And then I've glimmered a sentiment. All of my glimmered sentiments are from the More Glimmer Sentiments collection, and die cut it with the die that comes with that for a strip. We're going to adhere that kind of through the center, and then we're creating groupings of die cuts. And that's going to be a mix of the Books with Worm apples, both a large and a small. And then the bottom has those same 3 in a different order, and we're going to add in another little book so that the top border has 3 die cuts and the bottom has 4. It's a really simple thing, but I wanted to show how a repeating die cut pattern can be really impactful for a card. And it turned out really super cute. This was one of the easier, a lot of these were super easy, but this was really fast. One of those that I saw in my mind, and it actually translated instantly into the card itself. The only other things I'm going to add here, and again, all my die cuts popped up with foam adhesive. My sentiment strip, my glimmered sentiment strip, popped up with foam adhesive. Bottom border popped up with foam adhesive. We're going to add a little white clay heart to the red heart in the center on the top row. That's it. That's the only addition that we're going to make to what we've got going on here. And really cute. I absolutely loved how this turned out. Most, if not, nope, not all. I can't say all. Most of my cards today, I think like 9 out of 10 of them, have a white border. I don't always do that, but I think when you get going, sometimes you're, on a roll and that's just kind of how you go. I really was feeling that this month. Leaving a little white border all the way around. Help frame it up. Again, it gives it an instant matted look, even if it isn't really matted. Just fun, cute little images. I love it. And here you can see all my little foam adhesive squares. So next, we're going to be doing one of my favorite things. And I think one of you guys' favorite things too. I've done this before. I love taking a pattern paper from the kit, and I love taking a group of die cuts. I know for sure I did this a couple months ago, and I did it with a couple of cards in that kit, and I think hands down they were some of the favorite cards that I heard from you guys from that kit that I had created. It's where you take a group of die cuts and create an all-over pattern with the die cuts. They're not the accents like they are on this apple card or like they were on the previous 2 cards we just created. They actually create the background pattern with the pattern paper. And that's going to be a houndstooth green on green design pattern paper that we're going to die cut with our rectangle or trim to 4 by 5 1/4. And then we're going to take leaves and we are going to adhere those leaves directly to the background. And that's going to be one where we're not adding foam adhesive. It's going to be this beautiful all over pattern. We're going to foil some sentiments that we die cut into strips, and we're going to pop those up, and then we will add a little butterfly. That butterfly was a last minute decision. I had grabbed all of my leaves and I knew I wanted to use those, but I didn't know I was going to add that butterfly until the end. I felt like it needed a little something. And so I looked through my die cuts and I loved the butterfly designs. There's 2 different ones this month. And this one really matches the colors of the background. And so that's what we used for this one. But again, our sentiments, more Glimmer sentiments set. So, hey you, grateful for all you do. I liked the 2 lines of text. You definitely wouldn't have to do 2. But with the simplicity of this, I felt it really worked. You're also going to notice I adhered a lot of the leaves right away, but there's still some open spots. I'm going to take some of those pieces I trimmed off, and if I can work them in, I'm going to go ahead and use those leftover pieces I trimmed away to fill in some open areas. That may not work everywhere. In fact, I had to go and grab an extra, but look at those 2 tips from those other 2 leaves. We're able to fill in some areas, which I love doing because I feel like it's a lot less wasteful. And then I really thought I'd need more leaves than what I ended up using, because look over on the right side of the screen, all the leaves I have left. Very exciting. You could make probably, I would say, 4 to 5 cards just like this using different color combinations. There are my glimmered phrases. And then you can see I've already grabbed my little butterfly. That is going to be popped up with foam adhesive only under the top wings. The body of the butterfly, we're actually going to put liquid adhesive behind and pinch it in place with some tweezers to give those wings a little bit of lift. We're not going to center the butterfly. I felt like we needed it just to be a little off-centered for this card. There's the little liquid adhesive and some foam adhesive underneath the wings. Then we'll just put this on one of the white card bases to finish this up. Really a masculine feeling card too. I think that if you had a guy in your life with a fall birthday, you could switch that out for a birthday greeting. Maybe leave off the butterfly if you don't want to use that, and it would be beautiful. This is the only card that doesn't have the white border all the way around. We're actually going to trim a top and a bottom border from the mushroom pattern paper, which I think is darling. Add a little gold edge along the top and the bottom, and the scene is going to be built in between those two patterns. I started with a little bit too wide of strip, so I ended up having to trim that down just a little bit more. It measures 1.5 inches by 4 1/4. So if anybody is wondering and wants to recreate something similar, because I really think you could do that or do something similar with lots of different pattern, paper, and dies in the kit, this is fun. And it's really eye-catching, but very, very easy. Now, I did accidentally not adhere my patterns exactly right, and I had to go back with some undo, pop that off and fix it. I was a little bit irritated with myself, but no worries, we did that off camera. And then we're simply adding our strips to the top and bottom of our card. And look at the instant little frame it adds. I love that. I definitely want to do some more of this in the future because I loved how this one turned out. Now we're mixing die cuts and then the dimensional sticker die cuts for this one. So we are having the die cut mushrooms and then the little hedgehog with a mushroom. So stinking cute. He's darling. And then we're going to use that little heart thought bubble from our first card. We're going to use that here. And we're going to use a sentiment from the stamp set included in the kit that reads hedge hugs and kisses. This is the first time I used it. I will be using that again a little bit later in the video because I really liked it, and there's lots of hedgehogs in this kit. I didn't even get to use all the die cuts or die cut hedgehogs that are included. I used this guy, and then I'm going to create one out of the die cuts, the exclusive die cuts in the kit as well. We're building our little mushrooms. Now that's 4 die cut mushrooms, which I don't really like even numbers, but there is one on the hedgehog which provides the 5, which to my eye I like a lot better, and I think it looks really cute along the border. We're just going to pop our card base then in the Misty Ink Up Hedge Hugs and Kisses with black ink, stamp that, add our little thought bubble, and then we've got 2 really quick and easy cards coming up next. One even more easy than the other, but I'm going to kind of group them together because I worked on them pretty close together, and a lot of the steps are repeating things that we did earlier in the video, so I would cut some of that out. We have a Hey You framed up apple, so this is a dimensional sticker with a worm coming out, so cute. And then the group of 3 fall trees with the stamped and die cut hello. First up, we are going to do the apple card, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I think you can see I've got both pieces out here. I'm ready to do them together. The rectangle, that rainbow stripe paper, it's awesome. That was die cut with the Nestabilities Essential Rectangle and also the die cut little dots. We backed it with that pink pattern paper again. This frame is wonky and it's so, so cute. It's one of the exclusive dies in this kit, the Whimsical Forest kit. Die cut from the Glimmer cardstock, die cut from navy cardstock. The navy cardstock piece I foiled with Hey You and gold foil. We're going to inlay that back into the frame and pop our sticker on there, and that's it. Done. Eye-catching, perfect, easy little card. Love that. Another good teacher card. If you want to maybe give a little teacher thank you with a gift card or something in it, I think that would be super cute. This is very similar backgrounds, but we use different sized dies from that same rectangle die set. Backed this one with gold mirror cardstock, so that's that little gold rectangle you see around it. You could also foil it if you wanted to. And then we're popping up our trees with foam adhesive and doing just a little trio against that navy background. And they really pop. I love how that turned out. We're going to be doing the most simple sentiment here with a little hello. So remember earlier I tried to die cut the hello and that didn't work out so good. That's because it works with the stamp from the stamp set. And I found with this particular die, and I left it in the video because I really wanted you guys to see this in case you do the same thing. When I stamp first and die cut second. There are those times though where that does not work because your die is kind of closed. See, it's not a frame that you can see through to see where it's going to die cut. This is one of those. I actually stamped and embossed. I thought I was doing so good and tried it like I thought, and then I grabbed the die and I was like, oh no. I tried to line it up. I tried to do it and it didn't work. There is a trick to that if you do end up doing that, but I didn't want to do that today. It was just easier to go ahead and die cut another outline and stamp and emboss the hello so that it was perfect. And I'm going to show you that here in just a second. I'm still fiddling with these leaves. I was a little too aggressive with my foam adhesive and I ended up having to remove a little bit, but all is well now. So I've actually die cut the word. I've put my cardstock and the die cut back in my MISTI, lined up the word, and we're going to stamp it. And this is how I got it to hold where it needs to go because I just inserted it back into that little space. Then I just stamped it with clear embossing ink, heat embossed with gold embossing powder to tie back into the gold frame around our little rectangle as well as the gold foiling on some of the die cuts. We'll heat emboss that and then adhere this to our card with liquid adhesive right underneath those trees. Super simple, very pretty, very effective, and a nice elegant little autumnal type of card. So we're getting, I think I have one more very super simple, and then I've got two a little bit more time consuming because they either require die cutting and building die cuts or stamping, coloring, and die cutting. So that's the final one, is the most time consuming. But coming up next, we are going to create that die cut hedgehog that I was talking about earlier. He is so cute. I could see using him in lots of different cards, but we're going to mix him with pre-mades. We're going to add a die cut frame. We're going to have that great pattern paper background, and then do a little stamped and embossed sentiment strip, that same hedgehogs and kisses underneath the frame. So our background is 4 by 5¼ inches. We've die cut the frame from gold mirror cardstock again, which we're going to adhere in place. I've also used it's not beige, but it's kind of an ivory color cardstock that's included in the kit this month. That's what I used for the background, and then also for our sentiment strip in a bit. These little borders along the bottom edge, I love that they perfectly fit within this frame. That is some Fresh Forest Fun Stamper's Journey cardstock that I used from my own stash. The green cardstock in the kit is really bright green, and I want it a little bit darker. We're going to tuck our mushroom into those little grass borders. We're going to tuck our little Home Sweet Home signage in there. I mean, how cute is that? And then we're building our hedgehog. I do want to mention, all of the cardstock colors I used for the hedgehog were from my stash. They're all Fun Stampers Journey cardstock, but none of them came in the kit. I just didn't feel like the colors in the kit were perfect for the hedgehog, so I used what I had on hand. You guys probably have colors on hand. If you don't, you can always take markers or inks and blend or ink up white cardstock, color up white cardstock to get the perfect color. We're going to add a few little hearts here coming up from the hedgehog to finish up our frame. And then we're going to create one more super fast and easy card before we move on to stamping and coloring some gnomes and mushrooms from the stamp set. And this is going to use another wood grain pattern paper background, but this time we're not going to do any additional die cutting or foiling. We're going to leave it as is, but we're going to group several of the pre-made die cuts. So the other thought bubble that says that was pretty sweet, it's going to be our sentiment. We're going to use a kite and then some gnomes, a gnome on a snail, an individual gnome, and then an individual snail. I thought they were really cute. We're going to pop that wood grain paper right on our card base, and all of the pre-made die cuts are popped up with foam adhesive. Every single one of them. And then we're going to add just a little trio of red heart accents. And that one is all done. Our final card today. So I'm loving that Spellbinders has started creating some coordinating dies for some of the stamps in the card kit stamp set every month. And the gnome, a couple of the gnomes and the mushrooms from the kit for sure have dies. And a few other things, it seems like. I might be wrong about that. But I went ahead and stamped those on some smooth white cardstock with an alcohol ink, or an alcohol-friendly ink. And I'm coloring those in with Copic markers. Really quick and easy. The colors I'm using are listed across the screen, as well as my blog post that corresponds with this video. So if you're wondering, but I went with my favorite color combination, the red, kind of peachy pink, and aqua for my gnomes here today. They are cute, cute, cute. I really like them. But this is a little bit more of a time-consuming card. So while most of them are quick and easy, this one, because it requires a little coloring and then die cutting the corresponding shapes, is a bit more time consuming, but worth it. And you can definitely go back to the pre-mades from the kit. If you don't want to do mushrooms, you could always use some of the mushrooms, all kinds of things. We're going to be using one of the layered dimensional stickers. We're going to be stamping the rest of our sentiment on a little strip. We've got our die cut frame. I used that multiple times. I really liked that frame this month, and hopefully have shown some different ways to use it. A couple of scenes, and then of course we framed up that little apple earlier. Cute, cute and fun. Definitely the name of the game here with this month's kit. Our 24 and 29 were what I used for red. Because the areas are pretty small, I did not do a ton of blending. And because I recently refilled all of my Copic markers, they're full. I did not realize how dry my markers were. So they are very juicy and like new again. It's delightful, but I found I didn't have to work quite as hard to blend. If you're finding that you're having to work really, really hard, you might need to check if your markers need refilled. I refill mine, the ones that I know are running out periodically, but I did not realize how many of my markers need refilled. So just a little FYI, if you color with Copics, that refilling them or taking a little time for marker care is definitely worth it. I love her little aqua dress. The minute I knew I was going to like the little pink and red stripe top she has on, But the minute I added the aqua dress, I was like, yes, that's a whole vibe. That is definitely what I was going for. I love that. And so then we're just going to kind of move that over to him. And the little guy gnome is not going to have any pink, but he's going to be red and aqua. And we'll just kind of keep that color scheme throughout. Do some nice warm light grays for his beard. Cool grays for both of their shoes. And then the mushrooms all are going to be peach or red with a brown stem and then kind of a yellow red underneath or for the little spots. We're going to grab those coordinating dies, and of course one of my favoriteest things about Spellbinders is there's no cutting apart dies. They are all going to be, you know, ready to go. I die cut everything, and we're going to put it all together now. We've got our red pattern paper background. I will tell you that's my favorite pattern from this month's kit. I always like a subtle pattern. While I love many of the patterns in the paper pad, I really gravitated towards this one. We're going to glue our frame down. We're going to place the insert right inside of this frame and layer our grass, which I did die cut from the Fun Stampers Journey Fresh Forest cardstock again, along the bottom edge. We're going to tuck our gnomes in place, add our mushrooms, and I opted to kind of have our scene come up out of the frame. It's not all going to be inside. So my cloud up above. The mushrooms are going to extend past the sides, and I even added a little dimensional book sticker over here on the right side. Our sentiment is stamped on that ivory-ish cardstock, trimmed into a strip, and then popped in place right down below. And that is it this month, you guys. I hope you have enjoyed this video showcasing the Spellbinders September 2020 Whimsical Forest Card Kit of the Month. The supplies I used to create my cards are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos featuring Spellbinders Club Kits that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell to never miss a new card making video. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I'm so glad you're here, and we'll see you next time.